Welcome back. So tonight's project is to start seeds for succession planting. It is July 24th, and my plan tonight is to plant squash, summer squash and zucchini, kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, beets, and greens. And that will include spinach, bok choy, Swiss chard, and some lettuce. But first, let's talk about why I do it and kind of what my approach is. So first group is things that are going to start to look bad once they've produced a fair number of fruit. And for me, this is my zucchini and summer squash. These plants look great right now. They are producing a few fruits at a time. At some point, they're kind of going to give up, and they will start to look pretty bad. And my experience has been that if you pull the plant at that time and put in a second sowing, a second round, especially if that is an established plant, something that's maybe 3-4 weeks old, you will end up with a much longer season for these, and ultimately better fruit. The plant will be producing fruit at its peak versus trying to hold on and producing whatever it can. Second category is things that are going to grow. They're going to be pulled, and then there's going to be a blank spot. Beets is a great example of this. These beets have been in the ground about 5-6 weeks. They were grown from seed. They were a little bit old when I put them in, but they're basically ready to come out, honestly. We're looking at anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches in diameter. They're ready to come out. The same thing with the rutabagas. If I let them go, they're going to end up not being as healthy of a plant as if I pull them. So I pulled a couple of these last night. These are basically going through the fabric. This is an 1.5-inch hole in the fabric. This is probably a 2 to 3 inch diameter fruit. When these come out, I'm going to want something to put in their place. In some cases, that's more of the same. That's the plan this year. I'm going to plant more rutabaga. I'm going to plant more beets. In some cases, it's going to be something else. An example of the something else category would be my garlic. I think I mentioned previously I had a pretty bad garlic harvest this year. Extremely small bulbs. I don't know if that was because they got planted late. I think honestly it was just too much water this year. They never had a chance to really do what they were supposed to do. So these are going to come out probably tomorrow. And then the question is, what goes in this space? This is a 3x15 place. I would rather not turn to grass and weeds. So I need to have something to go in its place to continue the garden and to utilize that space. The last category for succession planting for me is things that are going to reach their prime or are probably better suited to a different season. So this is broccoli, obviously. That's about all I'm going to get for a head of broccoli, unfortunately. These were way too tall when I put them in the ground. They were very lanky. Most of them have started to flower. I picked what I can, but in terms of the number of plants, I'm getting very little. So at some point, I'm going to pull all these out. They're going to produce what they can. Those that I picked from are going to produce usually some additional little florets, but that's about it. So what's going to take their place? My philosophy this year is that something like broccoli that is actually a frost-tolerant plant, why not plant it in the fall? I'd love to say that I get my garden in on time. I don't. I never have, and I probably never will by the time everything gets prepped in the spring. So while I end up with some pretty decent yields, these are plants that would be a lot better nutritionally and probably taste-wise if they were grown in the fall. So my plan this year is to do exactly that. Plant them right now. We're July 24th. Let them grow for 2-3 weeks, and then put them in the ground and end up with a fall harvest. So maybe they get a frost, and they end up actually being better tasting and grow in the weather that they prefer. All right, so the plan is some Swiss chard, bright lights. I have some of that growing behind the greenhouse. It looks great. I would love to be able to preserve some for the winter, so we're going to do some more of that. Golden beets, Detroit dark red, and cylindra. I have the first two growing right now. They've done really, really well. I would love to have some more and actually be able to do some recipes with them for the fall. arugula, baby bok choy, and slow bolt lettuce. The bok choy bolted very quickly this year. Slow bolt and arugula did almost nothing because it was in way too late. Merlot lettuce, I have had a fair amount of that this year. It was delicious. And then I have a seed mix gourmet blend salad lettuce. I didn't mention it before, but I might try some kohlrabi. I did some of that. I don't believe a whole lot of it survived. That was in the flooded portion of the garden. More kale. I did about a dozen large plants, maybe 2 dozen. Saved a lot. I would love to do more to freeze for the winter, so we're going to try that. I don't recall if I have any. I know they didn't come up if they did. The dark green zucchini. I didn't get the early prolific straight neck. I didn't find those seeds before I did anything. I forgot to plant scallop. And I do have some golden, so I may plant some of those. So that's the current plan. I'm going to go for probably about 6 or 7 50-cell flats. And bring you back in a couple of weeks when I start to plant them. But for now, thanks for watching. Other things that you succession plant, ideas, please let me know. I know I'm fairly limited with having the weed block. I can't do as much companion planting, that sort of thing, as I'd like. But ideas, suggestions, whatever, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. All right, so we got beets, lettuce, greens, kale, Swiss chard, more beets, more spinach, lots of golden beets, and we're ready to go. Didn't do the squash tonight. I'll do that tomorrow, but these should be ready in probably 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.